Graffiti is a name for images or lettering scratched, scrawled, painted, or marked in any manner on property. Graffiti is any type of public markings that may appear in the forms of simple written words to elaborate wall paintings. Graffiti is just artwork usually engraved or spray painted on a hard, usually public surface. Graffiti is a type of deliberate marking on property, both public and private. It can take the form of pictures, drawings, words, or any decorations inscribed on any surface, usually outside walls and sidewalks. Graffiti is a way of leaving their mark in a world that would otherwise forget them, a world that would love them to disappear.
The difference between graffiti and tagging is graffiti is an actual painting on a wall with the person's signature, where tagging is just a signature where they put it anywhere just to tell people that they were there and that that person was here.
For most people, they see the act of graffiti as vandalism. Early graffiti artists tried to get fame and respect for painting in places that could attract the most views. These places were usually public spots, such as trains or buildings. Therefore, it is seen as socially deviant behavior since it breaks norms, which prevents people from defacing property. Some of such graffiti are gangs marking territory, but most are just taggers scrawling their names or symbols to gain personal recognition. In the end, some cities end up spending thousands of tax money having to maintain and clean up the unwarranted graffiti. In some studies, researchers use the broken window theory to explain how graffiti is like a gateway crime that can escalate to other more serious crimes. Over time, graffiti has developed its own underground society with distinct signs, symbols, and gestures that is passed on from tagger to tagger. As a result, graffiti can be seen as a subculture.
I define graffiti as artwork done in spray paint, usually on walls and stuff. For graffiti, I would say that tagging is when you illegally, draw your own stuff on someone else's work. And then artwork would be if you have permission or someone asks you to draw something on something specifically.
Graffiti can be anything marked by drawings, inscriptions, or words. Today, graffiti is usually popular in the form of urban-styled art ranging from obscene and contemporary, but before it came to be these canvases of underground expressions, the earliest concept of graffiti can be found on Pompeii's walls. Graffiti was much more public as a tool. It was much more interactive, like an open forum for exerting emotions, statements, or ideas. Whether it be politics, sex, love, hate, business, or poetic verses, people wrote about their fights, mournings, or love for others exclusively. Since graffiti's popular introduction to America in the 1960s, it came to be a much different meaning. It became a competitive and a resistance and deviant movement. It was apparent on more things than public walls, sometimes tunnels, trains, and private property. Graffiti became a tool for gangs, artists, youths, rebels, and troublemakers alike. Taggers styled in a way to get their name around the most gangs marked grounds, and anti-war, anti-government snowballed along these movements in this anonymous form of publicity, and above all, it became viewed as an unpeaceful attention.
I think what defines the difference between vandalism and art really is, as far as graffiti goes, really is if it's a public space and it's really, property of the city, you probably shouldn't be tagging it with graffiti. I think that's vandalism, because if someone goes and hits, statue of Martin Luther King Jr. on campus, that's going to be tagging, that's graffiti. But art, I think there's a lot of debate going on about torn buildings that are run down, or those old train cars you see on the sides of the railroad tracks. I think that could be a good way to express yourself through an art form. So I think it really depends on the setting and the space. That's the difference.
Go. So I guess the reason why, the distinction between graffiti and art is so difficult is because, on one hand, the substance of the image is can be thought of as art, just like the symbols and the art itself, but where it is, like the environment that the artist decided to put it on, classifies it as graffiti or vandalism.
Thank you.